Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the wonderful moments we have been given by the class of 2019. Help each of them to remember always the friends they have made here and the lessons they have learned here. Grant them the strength and the vision they will need to live lives of integrity. Open their eyes to all the beauty and goodness this world offers, and open their hearts so they will be compassionate and generous. Keep your hand upon them to protect them from all evil and to guide them along the path of their lives. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. Please be seated.
Good morning and welcome to the commencement exercises for the class of 2019. I have a few people to thank, a few groups to thank. And first of all, I'm thankful for this wonderful day. Some of you may remember that a year ago on this day, we were not as dry as we are today. First, I want to pay tribute to the faculty for caring for these students as if they were your own through all the trials, triumphs, and hilarity of the past 4 years. Thank you, members of the faculty. I won't pause for everybody. Administrators and staff, thank you for feeding us all, for tending to our everyday needs, and making this place run well, come rain, snow, shine, and delivering on this day what one alum and peripatetic world traveler often calls, quote, the most beautiful place I know. Parents, thank you for being our trusted partners, for trusting us with your children, and for being our ambassadors and welcomes around the country and around the world. Trustees, for holding the vision of this wonderful school close to your hearts and for caring for it across generations of Falcons. And to the Peddie Parents Association and its leaders, its most extraordinary volunteers, for helping to deliver the exceptional quality of entertainment, of support for our students this year. It means a great deal. Class of 2019, some of your accomplishments that I want to review. You won the Blair Day Cup. You won the Potter Cup. How many times? Well, I think you won it 3.5 times, all right? That math is a challenge, but thank you for that, all right? We have it 4.5 times, but I like your pride. I like the ownership, right? I think what's most remarkable is you arranged for it to be here for your commencement and not in Blairstown for their commencement. You learned to disagree civilly during the most uncivil political discourse in my lifetime, and that was no small achievement. You took community service seriously, looking for ways to improve what is closest to you and having an effect everywhere. You spoke boldly and responsibly about your own hopes for Peddie. You trained 4 new class deans, and in those inevitable moments when seniors wonder who missed the memo that, quote, "this is our year, we're in charge," unquote, you may have questioned if you trained them well. I think you trained them exceptionally well. I think you were extraordinarily well supported by the deans, but thank you for your work. You played on Peddie's first wooden basketball courts in 50 years. On the stage, you fought a French Revolution in Les Mis and homophobia in the Laramie Project. Our Falcons even killed monsters this spring, while our girls' golf team and crew were killing it in the Maple, as our girls' soccer and cross-country teams did this fall. And you are leaving Peddie a different physical place than you found it. You are perhaps the last class to have lived in Kerr, and the last to have purchased a breakfast specialty in the grill. Yes. Or to have played whatever video game you like to play in the senior lounge, as it has been for several years. And you are taking with you 5 senior members of the faculty and staff whose service to Peddie approaches 150 years. And I was gratified by the warmth and enthusiasm of your celebration of them in that chapel a couple of weeks ago. You are a kind and generous class. That you've been, I want to spend a few minutes talking about who I hope you will be after this day. And I want to start with some conduct that I know is nothing like you will ever be. One of the biggest stories this spring, and in the educational world of the last several years, has been the Varsity Blues investigation. This investigation revealed that a number of parents, an educational consultant, and coaches at a few colleges and universities perverted the admissions process at a few schools by submitting or accepting materially false information, asserting that applicants involved had highly desirable skills, capacities, or even standardized test scores they did not have. Some commentators claim this revealed a system that is broken, an assertion based on less than 100 cases out of the 3.3 million students who filed applications this year, an astounding example of journalistic irresponsibility. Cynical people have been shocked about corruption and dishonesty on the part of some college admissions processes. I was disappointed in the behavior of some people involved, and frankly, of all the people involved. I was disappointed in the parents who betrayed their children's best interests. I was disappointed in the consultant who abrogated his professional responsibilities. I was disappointed in the coaches who betrayed their college or university, as well as their own conscience. In some ways, I was surprised at the level of surprise. There is no reason to be surprised at the occurrence of deceitful and selfish behavior. History offers innumerable examples of these stories from our earliest times, no matter what the rank or station in life. Shakespeare would have been unemployed if people always behaved. Perhaps the public surprise came from the expectation that schools, like hospitals, like government agencies, and other organizations established for social good, are presumed to operate with moral purity. The shock was that people whom we expect to be fair and just because of the nature of their responsibilities were not fair and just. People who were presumed to embrace strong principles had in fact sacrificed honesty and justice for their own gain. Let me share 2 premises that I have found important. First, one's career does not dictate a person's character. Your character will ensure the success of your career as long as you bring your own strong moral compass to work each day. Management is doing things well. Leadership is doing the right thing, choosing the right thing to do. Both of those require a clear moral compass, and both of you are going to be managers, and all of you, are going to be managers and leaders in your lives. That is what you have been educated to do. Similarly, what my generation called the system does not have a will of its own. There are people who choose to be good and to do good in every walk of life, and there are people who do not in every walk of life. Free will remains the most powerful aspect of humanity. So what's the connection between the failure of some people to guide their organizations and the class, or the Peddie class, of 2019? The connection is that each systematic failure has at its roots individual judgments. Systems only make decisions in the cases where you have allowed them to make decisions. For example, policies and practices for public school funding in many states mean that children in impoverished communities receive less support than they need. And the idea is that we should be saving money. Well, what we know is that shortchanging a child's education is not only immoral, but ineffective. Ineffective schooling ends up costing far more in the long run than effective schooling ever would have. The design of these funding plans was the work of people who knew what a poor education takes from its victims, and they designed it anyway. These systems are designed, funded, and led by people who make individual choices. You have grown up at Peddie in a school with a clear idea of what kind of person you should be. You know that you have attained the capacity and inherited the privilege and duty of doing meaningful, good work in the world and to do well by doing good. What philosophy has guided that? What process has supported that philosophy? Let me walk you through a story you know well by talking about an image you know even better. The Peddie seal on your programs. School seals often have interesting images on them, and they are sometimes heraldic, pertaining to the coats of arms that noble and wealthy families once devised to demonstrate their status. You can find all sorts of ancient symbols on school seals, as well as some images that are not very ancient, but highly symbolic. Gods and goddesses, lamps of knowledge, open books, coats of armor, crossed swords, even little animals, and sometimes beehives. All of these imply a comparison between the school's identity and mission and the image used, and they are often illustrating the motto of the school. As you look at your program, in the picture of the middle of the Peddie seal, you see a person in a field from which a crop has recently been harvested. It's late in the day, judging from the position of the sun over the western hills. I'm making them western. This farmer is apparently reseeding the field, having just finished the harvest of the most recent crop. And you can see the bushel of harvested grain to the farmer's right, not yet taken to the storehouse. On our seal, around the lower half of the image of the farmer, is the Peddie motto, Finimus pariter renovamus labores, which we translate to read, we finish our labors to begin them anew. In our seal, the meaning of the motto is reinforced by the image. A farmer harvests the crop and prepares to plant a new crop as soon as possible. If the fall is the harvest time, spring may be the planting season. But whenever the farmer harvests the crop, work begins immediately on the next crop. Perhaps the field needs fertilizer or tilling, or perhaps it's going to lie fallow. And in the winter, the farmer fixes machinery and tools, procures the seed, sells or processes the crops from the fall. So the image captures that moment, which is often longer, between the completion of a project, in this case the mature crop, and the beginning of the next project, the seeds he is spreading. How is that like your routine at Peddie? Fertilizing fields, sowing seeds, irrigating crops, and harvesting them does not sound or look like studying literature, math, history, art, foreign language, or science. It sort of resembles a science project. That's the closest. It does not look like sports or acting, or singing or painting. It does not feel like community life or dormitory bonding, although it's true, farming is in many activities a solitary venture, as studying often is. But it has no tests, papers, or homework. Those successful farmers are extraordinarily hardworking, well-organized, rational people. Farming is like a school in a very important way. Farming is an iterative process. With every crop, the responsible farmer looks for ways to produce more food with less effort and less loss to insects, to blight, to droughts, to floods, and the other natural threats to crops. The farmer rotates different crops so the soil is not exhausted and unable to produce a good harvest. The farmer is responsible for what she works with. Every planting season is the launch of an effort at a sweeter corn crop, more bountiful wheat harvest, better tomatoes, whatever the crop. Farmers are tremendous scientists, always using some control element to determine which variables can be manipulated to best effect for the next planting. Likewise, here, we have expected you to master more knowledge and develop better skills each year. You did not study arithmetic and never advance to algebra. You were not allowed to stop practicing your writing when you mastered sentence structure. Your teachers helped you combine sentences, then paragraphs, then themes, then entire papers. One language was not deemed enough, so we made you study a second or a third. And then sometimes you'd want a fourth. In each case, when you finish one thing, we say, and now try this. Begin again. Furthermore, on each assignment within those courses, you were expected to improve your performance from test to test, from paper to paper. Indeed, in moments of frustration, the most common cause is not what someone else has failed to do, but what we failed to learn from our last experience with whatever enterprise is at hand. At Peddie, we also apply that philosophy to the extracurricular activities that complete your lives. Each coach aims for each game to be played better than the one before it. Each director asks the cast to correct errors from the night before in the performance on the next night. In your friendships, you each expect in time to enhance the relationship, to help each other grow, to be a better friend the next time your friend needs you. Life is not static. Life is dynamic. And why would we aim tomorrow to be less true to our potential or less responsible in our duty than we were today? But the farmer brings more to the metaphor than hard work and an iterative design process. The farmer's work is essential for the community. She feeds the community. That is her job, her profession, her motivation. The excellent work he does gives satisfaction and provides a living, yes, but the farmer thrives by providing the community's most basic need. The most important contribution of the farmer's work is to the health and well-being of the community. And finally, the farmer deals honestly and responsibly with the conditions presented. Not every rain is beneficial. Not every breeze is gentle. And not every seed takes root. And those are out of the farmer's control, but she has to manage them anyway. There's nowhere to hide, and no one but your neighbor to help you when it matters most. So we don't expect you all to take to the fields tomorrow. Of all the Peddie graduates I know, I think I know 4 who are agricultural professionals. We do expect you to be figurative farmers, to be sowers of seeds, providing spiritual sustenance in a world that needs leaders with a higher purpose than their own success. But to define success in doing well while doing good work that improves the community. You are those farmers. You have the chance, you have the privilege, you have the duty of providing for whatever community you join, in whatever profession you choose, living wherever your dreams take you. At a time when experts remind us, quite often, that you're likely to have many jobs in different emerging industries and professions, the constant will be your role as the entrepreneurial citizen, the one who makes each community better. I have one penultimate thought. There is a weakness, and I'm sorry to confess this, in the image on our seal. And not all of you know the faculty has spent a considerable time debating the strength of that seal. So for all of its rich metaphorical aspects, there's a material philosophical element of the Peddie experience which is not captured. It was probably beyond the artist's capacity in that limited space. I think you have to have been an actual farmer to understand the pride and the joy of that work. To understand the pride and joy which outweighs the early mornings, the hard work, the occasional disappointments, and the challenges beyond your control. I think normal people probably don't see that aspect of farming. Although, looking at you and at your teachers and around the tent at many of the Peddie staff and administration here on a Sunday morning, I know that pride and joy are and have been the most powerful feelings of the past 4 years for the class of 2019. So the sun will rise on a new day, our farmer will go back into the field, and we begin anew. Each year, each month, each week, each day, and specifically for all of you, next fall. This time to be better than the last. From this day forward, as for the past 4 years, your question should be, what will my contribution be? Your lives will provide the answer, and you will continue to make us all proud and joyful. Congratulations, class of 2019, and Alla Viva. It's now my privilege to introduce the Salutatorian of the class of 2019, Alan Wang.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn, for those wonderful words. Good morning. Trustees, friends of Peddie, faculty, staff, parents of the class of 2019, and of course, members of the class of 2019. Welcome. It's been a hell of a ride. When most of us first arrived at POCO all those years ago, I remember Kerr South was still standing, Doc Martin was a young man, and we were just scared freshmen, unsure of what life had in store for us. I suppose that last part hasn't actually changed. But now, I stand before you all today, the day, dressed like a dorky extra in a Harry Potter movie, wearing a cap that barely fits. And all of us are sitting here, trying to figure out how best to conclude this wonderful journey that we've had the privilege of taking together. We are here. In just a few minutes, we'll walk across the stage and become part of a very proud tradition. I know I'm not the only one that feels a great sense of pride in what we've accomplished together. Might I remind you, Mr. Quinn, that as a class, we have redefined the word #5Pete and maintained the longest streak of not losing on Blair Day. That through the hard work and dedication of the girls soccer team, girls crew team, girls golf team, and of course, the boys cross country team, we've made history and added several more Maple Championship wins to our record boards. Likewise, this past weekend has been great. No Saturday classes, no responsibilities, lots of time spent together with friends. For the first time in a while, I've had the opportunity to reflect on the past 4 years, to really consider what our time here has meant. And I began to think about how we ended up here, how we started here. Whether due to fate, years of hard work, divine intervention, or some distant family relation to one of the graduating seniors, we are all here. And what stuck out to me the most was this one week in Mr. Pat's physics class last year. We were having an egg drop competition. The challenge was to figure out how many rubber bands we would need to string together to bungee jump an egg off the second floor balcony of the Science Center without cracking, while also trying to get it as close to the ground as possible. Now, Mr. Pat remembers this challenge because my group actually cheated a little bit. We snuck into the back stairwell with our egg and had a couple test runs to see how far off we were. But let's assume that you weren't as competitive as Neil, Vincent, and I, and that you followed the rules. Only one egg drop, and your results would all depend on your calculations. You might be pretty confident in your physics skills, calculating the mass of the egg, how tall the balcony was, figuring out just how many rubber bands you'd need. But in reality, it was a total toss-up. There was no way to be certain, or even have a 95% confidence interval, that our egg would not explode into a glorious splatter across the entire entrance to the Science Center. And when I remembered this experiment, my conclusion that the reason we are all here, that it was somehow due to all of our collective hard work and success, began to give way to an alternate conclusion, one that was far less comforting, but all the while more true. Like the egg drops, life life's outcomes have a huge amount of luck built into them. While our presence here today may not have been entirely random, we have all profited from a certain string of luck. Getting into Peddie, surviving the coursework, avoiding complications that could have jeopardized our time here, making it to this very day. And with that luck comes obligation, a debt to the unlucky. If we accept the role that luck has had in all of our lives, then we are nothing more than mere actors in a sequence of events that has happened to us. Or at the very least, our successes have been incredibly dependent upon the actions of the many who have come before us. Our parents, our grandparents, our wonderful faculty, staff, and all of the adults who have supported us these past 4 years. Now, the question becomes, what do we do with that luck? How should that obligation manifest itself in our own individual lives? Thankfully, class of 2019, we've already begun to answer that question. Remember all the changes that our class has been through? Legendary faculty members have left Peddie in our time here, leaving new ones in their wake. New dorms were built, and old ones have been torn down. The great tree, which used to stand right there on that corner of Center Campus, fell when we were underclassmen. And of course, even through our senior year, the school's dynamic and rules have shifted under our feet. In the face of all that change, we have remained resilient. To our own selves, we have stayed true. We have supported one another through times of loss and cheered for each other's triumphs. We have thrown criticism, constructive criticism, at the administration on Finstas and in faculty student senate meetings. And we have done so because we care. We deeply cherish the freshman year experiences that seem so long ago. And we want to ensure that those who come after us, the current freshmen, and those who have yet to step foot on campus, will be able to have the same opportunity that we've had to create similar memories and stories. How lucky we are to have adults and faculty that are willing to listen to us, to advocate for us, and how lucky we are to have the freedom to even express our criticisms in the first place. This is how we fulfill that obligation, by constantly paying attention to the world around us, as Mrs. Oliver noted last Friday night, and by continually advocating for change to improve the society we live in. Like we have done during our time at Peddie, we must now expand our focus to criticize greater injustices and to deliberately consider how others are affected in our own societies. We must forgo our own comforts in order to ensure the welfare of others. And finally, we must seek to impact change on a greater scale, even if our individual moments do not have immediate effects. But some small moments do have immediate effects. A few days ago, last Thursday actually, I found myself rushing to get to Mr. Bickford's first period Gov class on time. So picture this, it's 7:50 in the morning, my last day of high school classes. I'm driving down Hankins Road to get to campus, when all of a sudden, I hit a massive pothole. I hear this rumbling noise, pull over, and get out of my car. It's the day of prom. My entire right wheel has blown out, it's raining heavily, and my car is now stuck in the muddy ditch that it's created. The road is narrow, there's no shoulder, and cars are driving by me every second. I will definitely not be making it to class on time. All of a sudden, one of the cars that's passing by puts on its blinkers and pulls into the driveway of the house near me. At this point, I'm on the phone with AAA, trying to convince them to send a tow truck my way, when who else but Mr. Onion steps out of his car and marches towards me. With his perpetually stern face. We've all heard Mr. Quinn talk about citizenship, usually in an abstract way. We never really consider how that citizenship exists in our own lives. But what a perfect moment to be stuck in a ditch, car completely undrivable, and to have Mr. Onion standing in the rain outside, calling the local police to come by and direct traffic around me while waiting on the tow truck that same police officer requested for me. I actually did make it to my second class on time. And to Mr. Onion, thank you very much. As the safety net of the Peddie community begins to fade for the class of 2019, I'm incredibly grateful for the support that we've been able to have in both expected and unexpected ways. Likewise, I hope that our experiences here inspire us to pay that support forward. That perhaps when we see evidence of the unlucky as we go forward in our own lives, we may be similarly inspired to consider what citizenship really means and to figure out how to apply that value in our own ways. And finally, some parting words, because I know it's hot out here today, and we all want to get our diplomas now. My time here at Peddie has been a wonderful mix of emotions, but as we prepare to leave for good today, I'm honestly a little bit frightened by how quickly things have moved. Dean McClellan told us yesterday that we should try to avoid using our phones to document every moment of our graduation, but looking around now, I can see that's kind of a moot point. Instead, I want to remind us of how audacious we were, to think that we were entitled to walk away with anything more than just a few good memories and a diploma. With that in mind, I hope we can collectively agree to make good on the luck we have benefited so much from, and continue to fulfill the obligation to the unlucky. Our time here has been short, relatively speaking, but we can always remember the lessons we've learned here and the experiences we've shared to inform our choices as we move on from Peddie. Lastly, thank you to my parents, who have provided so much of the luck that I've had in my life, and thank you to the friends and faculty who have shaped our time here into something meaningful. Congratulations to the class of 2019. We made it. Thank you, and Alla Viva.
We're going to begin the awarding of prizes, and I have the honor of starting. The first three awards are for men and women of Peddie faculty and staff, and then all the follows are for our seniors. The first prize is the John Green and Allison Zader Beyond the Call Award. Endowed in 2013 by John and his wife Allison, the John Green and Allison Zader Beyond the Call Award recognizes the dedication of the entire Peddie staff and is awarded annually to a member of the staff whose distinguished service represents Peddie's community values. Winners direct a stipend to a campus initiative of their choice. When our labors are finished, they begin anew. These words mark the labors of our awardee. Coming to Peddie in 2014 after a distinguished career with the United States Postal Service, including serving as Hightstown's postmaster, Mark Prosetti responds to the needs of the Peddie community at any hour of the day or night. He attends to student lockouts, responds to fire alarms, ambulance calls, drives students to doctor's appointments, and occasionally rescues stranded Peddie motorists from the New Jersey Turnpike. He offers to cover difficult hour shifts with a can-do attitude, a gentleman who has a cheerful attitude, an excellent work ethic, and truly enjoys being at Peddie. He emulates all that Peddie's values embody. We are pleased to recognize Mark Prosetti, Security Department Officer, as the recipient of this year's John Green and Allison Zader Prize. I'd like to ask Mrs. Cheryl Oliver to come to the podium to present the two awards for the Casperson Above and Beyond Prize.
First, I'd like to thank Alan, because at least one of you heard what I said the other night. The Casperson Above and Beyond Award is presented annually to a member of the Peddie School faculty and staff who has, in the eyes of parents, gone above and beyond the already high standards set every day by the fantastic teachers and staff here. Parents submit nominations to the Peddie Parents Association and include details of why they have nominated a particular person. Although the administration ultimately makes the final decision on who the recipient should be, to avoid any possibility of parental bias, as the president of the PPA, I have had the task of receiving and compiling the nominations from parents to submit to administration. It has been my great privilege to get to read each nomination, and I've been so moved by all of them. Thank you to all parents who have made the time to submit nominations. It is vital that we acknowledge the efforts of those who work to shape our children. This year, the field of nominations was larger than in the past, which is wonderful, and the decision was made to recognize two recipients. The award for this recognition is a highly coveted Peddie chair with a personalized engraved plaque. It is my great honor to recognize our two 2019 Above and Beyond Award recipients. A gifted teacher with a special kind of patience, determination, and compassion, whose ability to bring her natural talents as a mother to her daily responsibilities at Peddie has elevated her far beyond coach, teacher, and advisor. Truly a second mom to many Peddie students who will be a part of her legacy, spreading the kindness and compassion that they learned from her example. It is with tremendous gratitude and reverence that I present the 2019 Above and Beyond Award to Kate Nicholson. She is a surrogate mother, part cheerleader, part drill sergeant, a constant source of support, a tireless colleague, an excellent teacher, and part of the soul of Peddie. A Peddie alumna, a Peddie athlete, a Peddie parent, a Peddie trustee, a Peddie teacher. She has played many different roles at Peddie, and all of them well. It is my pleasure to present the Casperson Above and Beyond Award to Jan Lofren.
The Dr. Wilbur Eddie Saunders Society Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching. This award is given by the class of 1947 to commemorate their 50th reunion and to honor Dr. Wilbur Saunders, Peddie's revered headmaster from 1935 to 1949, whose leadership, integrity, strength of character, and generosity of spirit was an inspiration to students and faculty. Classroom teacher, varsity coach, dorm supervisor, club advisor, this faculty member models selfless service to the community. He and teachers like him nurture and sustain our community. His classes are artfully designed lessons that integrate fundamental skills with historical content, often content less familiar to his students. In his 16 years at Peddie, he has encouraged students to learn about non-Western cultures, and he often connects Peddie graduates pursuing interests abroad with current Peddie students. His study walls are covered with signatures and grateful thank yous of past dorm residents who appreciate his attention to their needs. And this is particularly true of our international students living so far from home. For making Peddie a home away from home, the 2019 graduating class awards this year's Saunders Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching to Birch Valley.
Finally, on behalf of the full faculty, it is my honor to present the school prizes. We begin with the Matthew R. Weiner Award, class of '98. This award is presented to that Peddie senior whose integrity, determination, compassion, leadership, and courage epitomize his or her ambitious pursuit for excellence in scholarship, in athletics, and in life. a dedicated competitor and loyal teammate, a generous leader and poised competitor. She's the example and the glue of her team. A joyful student guided by curiosity, a delightful goofiness. Her observations are smart, clever, and creative. Sruthi's ability to connect, guide, and lead are admired and deeply appreciated. For dedication governed by pluck and guided by humor and sense, the Matthew R. Weiner Award goes this year to Sruthi Kochalakota. The Dr. Henry Kissinger Award for Citizenship and Diplomacy. Established by the Helfet family in honor of the visit of Dr. Kissinger to Peddie, this prize is awarded to that senior who, during his or her tenure at Peddie, has demonstrated a mature sense of citizenship and diplomacy, advancing understanding throughout the Peddie community. A young woman of welcoming smile and warm encouragement, of diligence and admirable drive, whose convictions and decency direct a measured approach to conflict and to resolution. Nicole fosters accountability, civility, and discretion, all without ever losing her cool. She allows and encourages others to speak their truth and inspires us to be patient with resistance. For her infectious goodwill and her enviable grace, the Kissinger Award for Citizenship and Diplomacy goes to Nicole Zwanes. The Ingersoll Honor Prize, established by John Campbell, class of 1916, a cup awarded to that student who has shown the greatest development and improvement while at Peddie. Initially reserved and disorganized, frequently distracted, he arrived as a new sophomore in a new country. Unconventional in style, original in thought, he works independent of time or deadlines, but with insightful wit and wild abandon. Putting his trust in us, Max has shared his hilarity. Has shared his hilarity, his originality, and his honesty. He has gained self-discipline. He has been adventurous and bold and imparted to all a deeper understanding of brave. The Ingersoll Honor Prize goes to Maxime Fromkin. The Walter H. Annenberg Honor Award is a plaque retained at the school and a cup awarded to that student exemplifying the greatest devotion and service to Peddie. A respected and celebrated young man, he created for Peddie a soundtrack of optimism and inclusion, so we followed his beat and trusted him to inspire harmony amongst us. His following waits, grateful for the guru with the guitar, a prefect parked in the lounge, champion of everyone else's achievements. Ethan is a wildly creative influencer, a magnetic and magnanimous leader in kindness, risk-taking, and reinvention. The Annenberg Honor Award goes to Ethan Govea. Parents Association John Green Prizes. Endowed by the Parents Association to honor John Green, Peddie's 15th head of school, the John Green Prizes are awarded to that male and female members of the senior class who excel in sportsmanship, conduct, scholarship, and character. Impressive social commentators, deft curators of satisfaction and delight, they are collaborators and teammates who inspire us with imagination and interpretation. These generous citizens are devoted to their squads and ensembles, to the exercise of artful expression, and to the power of resiliency and recovery. Sophie embodies the rare commitment to caring, purposeful engagement, and Dan reveals the magic of daring, electric improvisation. Together, their creativity and play, joy and humanity honor our values and amplify our mission. This year, the John Green Prizes go to Sophie McClellan and Daniel Funderburk. The Wyckoff Honor Prize, a cup endowed by the family of William W. Wyckoff, class of 1895, in his memory to that member of the senior class who has completed the work of the junior and senior years at the school and who, in the judgment of the faculty, unites in the highest degree the three most important elements of success: ability, character, and attainment. It is the wish of the donor that the prize shall be awarded to a student of moral integrity, high rank in scholarship, and the natural qualities that warrant future success. The student shall also show a marked spirit of loyalty to the best tradition of the school. This is the school's highest award. A young man of good humor and optimism, he is a scientific beast, an academic MVP, and a daring explorer of the theoretical. Scholar and everyman at the same time, curiosity and goodwill are matched by his generous care of others and for Peddie. Zach has received the highest prizes the school bestows with trademark humility and glee. His infectious spirit and remarkable talent encourage all of us to be gracious ambassadors, daring and deft learners, and better, kinder citizens of the world. The Wyckoff Honor Prize is awarded to Zachary Steinhauser.
The Morris Fredman Prize, endowed by Morris G. Fredman, class of 1909, and awarded this year to the seniors having the highest standing. This year's valedictorian is Hajin Sim, and this year's salutatorian is Alan B. Wang.
All right, to class of 19, it's about time to start. Just a couple of notes before we begin. At various times throughout this process, you will see people who are coming from the audience to give diplomas. It's the Peddie tradition that the parents of graduates who are employees or trustees or past trustees of the school are given the option to hand the diploma to their children, and that's who these people are. So without any further ado, the diplomas, Mrs. Silverman, please.
Jan. They're not. First row, you can stand up. There we go. Ready? All right. Jan Harvey Abua. Nikhil Agarwal. Najia Almahi. Matthew Shane Armelino. Neil Aurora. Ruby Wasani Catalina Avila. Srinidhi Bale. Anjui Barrett. Alexander Beggs. Maurice Alexander Bellin. Oscar Guidry Bencard. Raga Bhagavati. Nadia Noor Bhatti. Kazimo Tembe Daniel Boda. Evan Michael Bradley. Carly Noel Bullock. Victor Thomas Capuzzo. Ruben Jacob Carlis. Finn Michael Westby Casperson III. T. Yanapon Shaisithi Karnka. Daniel Cheng. Helen Alicia Chu. Morgan Ashley Chud. Charles Chung. Andrew R. Clark. Reagan Barbara Cook. Evan Spencer Korn. Ryan Thomas Crean. Neil Dange. Benjamin Timmy Dare. Is anyone coming up for Tim? Timothy Allen DeGray. Nikhil Diggy. Sarah Deluzio. Sarah, come back, your diploma. Victoria DiStefano. Joseph William Guy DeBrule. Adam Eldasuki. Evan Joseph Farrow. Xavier Robert Fredericks. Maxim Frumkin. Daniel Funderburk. Miles Jordan Gibson. Melissa Marie Goodspeed. Ethan Michael Govea. Manav Goval. Philippe Robert Groff. Max Hale. Noah Leyland Harney. David Whitmire Harris. Rebecca Woolley Harris. Charlotte Noelle Heacock. Kylie Yael Hearing. Eiley Elizabeth Hermanson. Katrina Ho. Ziyi Wang. sorry. Kathy Hui. Congratulations, Kathy. Trey Ike. Kirsten Mackenzie Jacober. Mariah Corinne Johnson. Samantha Laurel Johnson. Jimmy Kim. Sruthi Kocher-Lakota. Johnron Kogawa. Akil Sai Kotamaraju. Andre Kravitz. All right. Daria Kuyansiba. Isabella Rose Logrego. Jasmine Lau. Lanston Arthur Lewis II. Kaiwen Lee. Amanda Camille Alexis Lindsay I. Meredith Aaron Lippman. Samara Ashley Lorber. Michelle Liu. Winston Willoughby Lux. Lauren Eliana Macnow. Luca Kai McGee. Abigail Rose Malley. Sophia Rose McClellan. Gabriel Milstein. Maddie Mitch. Emma Porter Morin. Peter George Morley. Ryan Christopher Morris. Harrison Rainier Morrison. Mikio Munakata. Aviva Munoz. Sorry, I lost my space. All right. I know who you are, yes. Declan Patrick Murphy. Lena Marianne Nazario. David Bishop Nicholson. Christian Robert Null. Edward William Oliver. Melissa Onwuka. William Philip Pekenis. Mia Pangasnan Rudda. Sarah Kim Park. Jacob Gabriel Pat. Brooke Hannah Perlman. Catherine Phillips. Calvin Juan C.J. Presley Jr. Latrell Reed. Jane Severich Richardson. Zen Rizzuto Flansbaum. Gabriel A. Rodriguez. Sorry, Catherine Celeste Rodriguez. Philip Jude Sapienza. Diaz Sarsanov. William Schlemmer. Jessica Rose Scopoletti. Kyle Robert Sikkema. Hajen Maya Sim. Emma S. Singh. Cameron Scott Smith. Charles Smolin. Lorenzo Arminio Spinazzi. Matt Stefanowitz. Zachary Nathan Steinhauser. Blake Hunter Strepick. Rohit Vikram Suresh. Arkan Tastil Doroglu. Chiwe Tao Ariel. Jeffrey Tian. Femia Marie Tonelli. May Tran. Borja Trascasa Palacios Pelletier. Olivia Trascasa Palacios Pelletier. Michael Anthony Tile. Aaron Lorenzo Oy. Is his mother presenting? She works in the health center. No. Okay. Eric Jonathan Beltry. Aishwarya Vemulapalli. Alan Benjamin Wong. Grace Royan Wong. Nigel Palmer Woodruff. Iu Shelley Wu. Rain Shu. Rory Shu. Winston Yang. Nashwan Yo. Gabriella Rui Yunkin. Zhu Amy Zhang. Nicole Jabiaba Zwenes.
Let us pray. Accept, O Lord, our thanks and praise for all that you have done for us in giving us the class of 2019. We thank you for blessing them with family and friends who will continue to support them throughout their lives. We ask your blessing upon these graduates as they prepare to move forward into new worlds, and upon all of us who are gathered here today because we love them. Amen. May the Lord bless us and keep us. May the Lord make his face to shine upon us and be gracious to us. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon us and give us peace now and forevermore. Amen.